Welcome everybody to my class or presentation, whatever you want to call it, on making Apple videos, my setup. I am going to start sharing my screen so then you can actually see what is going on. Let's do that first. And there's Steve. All right, and we'll go back to the first slide here. Okay, everyone can see my screen all right, correct? Or not?
Yes, sir.
I saw Mike go,
see
no.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. Okay, how about
good.
this? Can you see my air with the rainbow?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
now we
Okay.
can. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Good. All right. So welcome everybody to my class on making Apple videos. My setup for making Apple videos. We are going to take a look at some of my software that I use. Actually, there's one big piece of software that I use that kind of manages everything. And I'll show you a little bit of everything that I have. And then we're also going to take a look at my actual production computer, and you'll be able to see how this whole thing works. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just mute everybody, and everybody kind of knows how this works. Just interrupt me, especially if something's gone wrong. Sometimes I miss the screen because I don't have a production assistant, so sometimes I miss switching the screen or whatever. I am monitoring the comments as well, so just interrupt me, anything like that. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Dan Wassing from Dan's Tutorials. I create easy-to-follow video tutorials for the Mac, iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, all that kind of stuff. And they are over at danstutorials.com, and I've been slowly delving into YouTube as well, so you can find some of my later stuff on YouTube. If you like what you see, all I ask for is check out my site. If you really like it, become a member. You have access to about 2,000 videos, with more being added on a regular basis. And when you are a member, you do not see any of those annoying YouTube ads. So it helps support me, a small business, and a little bonus for you, no ads. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Go to Dan's Tutorials, find out more. Let's get started, because I think this is going to, this could be a little bit long, although I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter here and go with it. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is a few different keynote presentations, because I want to kind of explain what is going on before I show you how it actually, or the software that actually manages all this. And as I said, the key to making this all work for me is a software called Ecamm. And with Ecamm, it's basically like there's OBS out there, which is a free version of what it does. A lot of churches in our area, or I'm sure in a lot of areas, use OBS. I think that's what it's called. And but Ecamm is a Mac-only version that you pay for, and it is far and away much better than what OBS, although they kind of do the same thing. So let's take a look at a few of these slides here first, and then we'll get into some of my software. So I will tell you right now that I'm going to be juggling a few different things here, so hopefully everything will work. Right now what I want to do is go over to my keynote presentation, and we do not see it there, and we do not see it there. And this is what I was talking about, where I'm going to run into problems. Oh, there, I didn't hit my foot pedal. But those are the things that we're going to run into, because I got a lot of things juggling, more than usual with this particular class. So the key to making this thing all work, what I do with my videos and with the presentations, and they kind of work hand in hand. When I create a video, I follow the same process as what I'm doing when I'm creating, presenting. Really, the only difference is I'm using Zoom, and that's it. Outside of that, the software is still working the same way. So basically what Ecamm does is it allows, I can plug multiple things into my computer, and then what it allows me to do is, how come you don't see me? Well, anyway, there I am. You're going to see me there shortly. I don't know what it's doing there. Told you I'd run into bugs. Anyway, pardon my little corner thing there. Is this green screen? Let me see here. Hold on here a second. Camera A and keynote. There we go. Okay, so this is what you should be seeing. So I have here Ecamm Live, and this is just software that's running on my MacBook Pro. And basically what I do is I have a number of different cameras here. You're going to see that first off. I have the Elgato face cam, which allows you to see all of this. And then I have a tiny bot screen, which allows you to see me. And then I also have an overhead camera. So then you can see doing that kind of thing. And then I also have a iPad mini pencil where I can go and do that kind of stuff. So all those are kind of plugged into my Mac. Nothing big there. I have 2 Thunderbolt hubs because my MacBook Pro only has 3 Thunderbolt ports, and all the stuff is USB-C and Thunderbolt and all that kind of stuff. So I did have to buy 2 accessory. So all this stuff is kind of just plugged in there. And then of course I have a microphone. So Ecamm it's all going into Ecamm through my MacBook Pro. And then also with that, what I have is my iPad that I demo with, my Mac that I demo with, and my iPhone that I demo with. So you're going to see those here. So here is my iPad, here's my demo Mac, and here is my demo phone. So those are plugged into my Mac as well. And not only that, but I also have Stream Deck, which we talked about before I actually started recording. Stream Deck is the little thing that allows me to switch all of these things. So when you go back over to my overview here, you're going to see that I have a couple little devices here. That is what I'm pushing to switch scenes. And then I also have a foot pedal. I call myself a rock star. I also have a foot pedal that does the same thing. And basically what I'm able to do is customize what these buttons do when I push them. So I can say, show me my iPad when I push on this button here. And show me my, just me, whoops, I did push the right button. Didn't mean to push that. Show me my MacBook Air when I push on this button here. Go to the next slide when I hit the foot pedal. And all that's doing is it's just telling this software to do all that. So the Stream Decks are a key part of making this all work. And then lastly, with this, of course, I have to have monitors. So I have my MacBook display monitor, and then of course I have my Thunderbolt monitor. But on top of that, what I have is a monitor, I'm just going to call it monitor 2, which is in my teleprompter. So I'm looking at you, but I'm also can see everything that's going on because right down here, oops, we'll do this, right down there is a monitor, an iPad, that's reflecting off of a teleprompter. So I'm just using that as another display. So Zoom is basically going out to all of that and just telling, showing so I can see everybody here. So when someone raises their hand, I can see when they raise their hand, that kind of thing. And then the last one here, I also have another monitor here, and this is what they call a headless monitor. And this one took me a while. For those of you that have been with me for a while, you noticed last year I was having low resolution problems, and I don't have those anymore. And that's because of this guy right here, the headless monitor. So, and that is a problem with Zoom. So I was able to get around it with that. A headless monitor is, for those of you who don't know it, is basically it's just an HDMI plug that plugs into your HDMI port on your Mac. And even though you can't see it, your computer sees it as a monitor. So what I'm able to do is send stuff to that monitor. I don't need to see it. All it's doing is basically what it's doing is Ecamm is taking all of this stuff here and pumping it out to that monitor. It's just pumping it right out there. And then with Zoom, what I do is I share that monitor. And when I share that monitor, boom, I get all the high resolution. If you don't do that, you run into what I ran into last year, all the low resolution stuff. So that was a key to making that thing work. So that is my setup on how it works. Now, the next step to this is what I have here, or what Ecamm has, is different scenes. So when I go to my iPad, this is what they call a scene. So think of a stage. And for those of you who know how soap operas used to work, basically the way that soap operas worked, and the way that Twit TV works as well, what they will do is they will have a camera set up here that turns around in a circle, and then they will have a stage here, stage here, stage here, and stage here. And then all they have to do is just rotate this thing to show the different stages. Mike, you might even be familiar with some of this kind of stuff. So that's basically how I kind of picture what's happening here. Each one of these is a scene. So now, when we go back over to my thing here, you're going to see I have a scene here for me, a scene here that's overview, looking over everything, my MacBook Air, and I have a lot of scenes in here. I'm just showing 4 of them here. And when I click on the Stream Deck, basically it just goes and switches scenes. From there, what I can do with each scene, just think of that soap opera, or each stage. You could look at it like each one is a stage. From there, each stage can have a different set of cameras on it, or different viewpoint or whatever. So when I'm looking at me here, basically I'm telling Ecamm to only show my tiny 4K webcam, which is me, and show my iPad pencil. So it is just showing those two, and that's it, nothing else. But now, if I want to go to my MacBook Air and phone, which is, where is it? Air phone, yeah, which is this one here. When I wake up my Mac, it'll show. That is basically comprised of 3 different cameras. I have this camera, this is a camera, and this is a camera. So those are the 3 cameras that are part of that. So when we go back over here and I go to my MacBook Air, basically I'm telling it, I need me there, I need my MacBook Air there, and then I also need my iPhone there. And on top of that, I also need to have my little pencil. So it's just taking all 4 of those. Now, that little thing that you see that goes across when I have a keynote presentation and when I change change the slide or whatever, guess what that is? Keynote. Feeding into there again. So all those things just kind of feed into that scene. So I pre-program all these different scenes to do that, and then once I get it all set up, all I have to do is just go, oh, you want to see my setup here? All right, click a button. Oh, well, let me demo that on my iPad. Let's go over to my iPad here. All I'm doing is just switching scenes. You know what? We should see how that looks on the iPad and the iPhone. There's my iPad and iPhone. So it's just switching scenes based on this little grid here. And you'll see I have a lot of different scenes in there, and a lot of different of these guys as well. There's a lot of inputs in there that are going. So, in fact, a lot of these, this is where I needed to have the hub. Now I see that George asked a question on the hub. Remind me later. I'll go over the equipment like that, George, and if I don't catch it, remind me. So basically I have a lot of different inputs in there. So that's basically what Ecamm does. It manages all that for me, and that's the magic behind making this all work. I couldn't do it without Ecamm. Ecamm is just a wonderful program once you master it. And for those of you, they know that it took me a good 1.5 years to get this down pat, but I think I've got it pretty much down pat now. So, all right. So that's Ecamm. Now let's take a look at the video flow, because this is another setup, another thing with it. The video flow. This is where we run into problems as well. Now this is typically how video will flow. Now, Ecamm is really set up for YouTube, Twitch, that kind of thing. And, people are starting to use it for Zoom. A lot more people are using it for Zoom. So, of course, I'm using it for Zoom. But if you take out the Zoom here, just take that out, it's pretty simple. You're not going to run into any delays. You're not going to run into low resolution problems, anything like that. It works just great with YouTube. Zoom is the one where you run into all kinds of problems. So what's happening here is my tiny webcam, which is me, what that is doing is that's going into a scene, as you know. Then it's going into Ecamm, which is part of, the scene is. Then what it does is it goes over to, typically what it'll do is it'll go into the virtual monitor. A virtual monitor, Ecamm has a virtual monitor, and then what you can do is you can tell Zoom to use that virtual monitor. And when you do that, basically what Zoom is going to see is everything that you're seeing here. This is how I used to do it. So when I was hosting NMUG and all that kind of stuff, I would use the virtual monitor and it would just show what I'm doing here. The problem that I ran into with that virtual monitor, and it works great for YouTube and all that, but when you just use it as a virtual monitor, Zoom, if you don't share your screen, Zoom, very low res, 360 pixels. I mean, it's extremely low res. So then you're not going to get the good quality. So you really can't use a virtual monitor for Zoom, not unless you share the screen. And when you share the screen, you run into a whole nother issue. So here's how I have it with my setup. So the tiny webcam, all like normal, but remember that headless HDMI that I can't see? I can't see it. I don't know where it is. But Ecamm can, and it's sending what you're seeing here to that thing. And I'm just telling Zoom when I share my screen, you know how you can choose what you want to share? I just share that monitor 3. So it's going to the headless Zoom, and boom, I get full res. Because when you share a screen, you get full res. And I don't have to worry about things getting mixed up or anything like that. Now, the other problem that you can run into with this is audio input. Guess what happens when you, let's see here. Oh, wait, sorry. Let me back that up. That's not right. I got ahead of myself. So the other thing is when you are looking at Zoom in the little thumbnail, you do not see what I'm sharing on the screen. You see me as a little thumbnail. So the way that I'm doing that is I'm saying, Zoom, take the video from here for my little thumbnail. But when I share the screen, take it from Ecamm. So that's how I can have two different things going on at the same time. So now in that little thumbnail, what I used to have to do is I used to have to stop myself, not show in the little thumbnail because you saw me twice. And that can get a little like, kind of thing. So now you just see me, and then you can also see what I'm sharing. Now the audio. We're almost done with these slides. But this actually helped me when I put this all together because I'm afraid to unplug my computer, to be honest with you. I'm afraid oh crap, when I plug it in, nothing's going to work again. So this helped me map it all out. So here's the audio flow. We've all run into delays. You've seen delays with me, with my voice. And this is what happens. Basically, when the video goes through all of this stuff, it gets delayed just by a split second, but it gets delayed because Zoom is picking directly up from the microphone. So your audio will hit your ears faster than what your lips, the video is, and that's when you get that video delay. So what Ecamm did last year is they introduced a virtual microphone. And that virtual microphone delays it just a little bit. So now the audio and the video are going through Ecamm and everything's all good. Works perfect. Except when you want to record people. Doesn't work so perfect. So what I used before they came out with this virtual thing here, I use a program called Loop Deck, and what it does, it allows you to do, Ward will probably be familiar with this, it's like you're unplugging and plugging cords into your Mac with all these different inputs. So I can say, when it's Ecamm, I want it to go here. If it's iTunes, I want it to go here. If it's this, I want it to go here. You can just a cable mess if you wanted to. So what I do is here's Loop Deck. Everything all works good, but when you guys speak, I have it go to Loop Deck, and then Loop Deck says go to Ecamm and record that, because Ecamm is recording everything on top of all that. So I have to get that input back into Loop Deck. Once I figured out all that, it just worked. And yeah, I had to reboot unplug a couple Thunderbolt cables. Sometimes I have to do that about 15 minutes before here, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. It's not going to go. And then everything just came back to life, and everything just kind of worked. But that's what I have been figuring out for the last year and a half. It took me a while to get it, but now I got it, and it works really good. So let's take a look at some of the software that I use. And the software that I use to put this all together, of course, is Ecamm. We saw what that does. And once I told you that Ecamm records the video. And actually, Ecamm records like 2 or 3 or 4 videos. And then I can put all those into Final Cut Pro. I'll show you that when I show you my Final Cut Pro. But basically, when I go to Final Cut Pro, once Ecamm is done and I have the recorded video, when I hit stop playing or hit into this meeting, I'm going to have that video. I can feed it into Final Cut Pro. I do my little editing. So then I have it all edited. The next thing that I will need to, I use Cursor Pro to highlight, which you'll see shortly, but that's that little blue ring that kind of goes in and out, and I can zoom in on stuff. I also have the video pencil. I just learned this one. I think Mike will be familiar with this. This was about a month ago. So that allows me to do this little guy here. And all I'm doing with that, if I go to my overhead here, using my Stream Deck, go into a scene, it's called overhead, I can see what's going on here. So this is everything that you can see. So I can say, here's my iPad mini, here's my phone, my iPad, my MacBook Pro. So everything is right there, and I can just kind of go with that. This is a great little tool that really helps. I thought it was cool when I saw it, and I'm like, I got to figure this thing out. All right, so that's the pencil thing. And I also have, I can't pronounce it, Echo, I'm going to guess. This is available in the App Store. And I use a lot of AI. And with Echo, what I can do with this, because I used to use Otter, which you have to pay for, and then when you feed it a video, it gives you the transcript and all that. Echo is something you download from the App Store, open it up, feed it a video, and you're going to have a transcription within, depending on the length of the video, but 5-10 minutes or whatever. You're going to have a transcription for that. Then what I can do with that transcription is I can upload that to YouTube, and if I really want to, I can feed that to Claude, and I can say, write a summary of what I discussed in this whatever it may be, and it'll write a summary for me. I don't have to do that anymore because Zoom writes that summary for me, which I never turned on here. Oops. So I might have to use Claude for that and start summary. I'm going to start the summary here. It's going to be a little late, but oh well. So Echo allows me to do that, so I don't have to pay for Otter or anything like that. I also use Notion, which is a database kind of thing, and it has AI, and it allows me to keep track of the videos. I can feed it some information, write a description for this, that kind of thing. I use Canva. I did not include that in here. Canva creates my thumbnails and things like that. I do pay for that. CleanShot X for any screenshots that I may use. And then PDF Pals is a new one, but and I'll show you how this works. I got this through SetApp, and they just added this 2 weeks ago. And with PDF Pals, it's really cool. You can feed it a PDF. The problem that you have with AI is it goes through the whole internet, and then you're going to get like misinformation or not exactly what you want. I can feed PDF pals a PDF, so I fed it the watchOS 10 PDF that they just came out with, that Apple came out with. It reads it, and I just go in there and ask questions. Can you explain the stand ring for me in a little bit more easier terms? And then it comes back with just, because it got the information just from that PDF, not from anywhere else. So as you can see, I use a lot of AI. So that's the software that I use. All right, that's everything there. Now let's take a look at Ecamm and see, basically the behind the scenes, what I am looking at when we're looking at these meetings, or even when I'm just recording a video. Give me a minute here to figure out how to switch into live demo mode and show you. I think I have to turn this off, and you can see my screen, right? All right. I'm not going to be able to use a pencil for this because the pencil is set up for Ecamm. It's not really set up for this, but basically what we are looking at here, I do have my Cursor Pro, so I can highlight things here. And this window right down here, the big white window, is basically, if I go to me, we should be able to see me. So that is just kind of giving me a window into what everyone is seeing. This is the main thing that Ecamm is showing you guys. So if I go and say, you know what, we need to see my iPad, there's my iPad. We need to see my iPhone, there's my iPhone. So it's basically feeding that screen over to that headless HDMI monitor, and then Zoom is showing what's ever on that monitor. Because remember, we can tell Zoom to share whatever we want. So I just said share that monitor. Whatever I put on that monitor, share it. And this is what I'm putting on there. So that kind of gives us the, everything that's going on. So I can go into comments here, and there's our comments, kind of thing. If I go out of live demo mode, now you can see my comments. Go back into live demo mode. So that is the, Ecamm's kind of feeding that. And it's also recording this. So when I go and record a video, basically it's recording what I have on here. And then on top of that, what it's doing is it's recording whatever is on that screen that you're looking at, kind of thing. And then I can combine those two together in Final Cut Pro.
You have
now,
a 727 landing on runway 4.
So what we have here, remember I said that we have those scenes? This right down here, what I'm moving here, these are all my different scenes. So instead of using Stream Deck, what I'm able to do is just go over here and say, okay, I want to look at me. All I'm doing is just clicking on these. So these are the actual scenes. And you're going to see I have a number of different scenes here. So I can switch to any one of them. And each one is just laid out just a little bit different. I played around with this, adding a border to me, just to see what it would look like. So all I did was just create a scene for it. Let's go back over to me. So those are all my scenes. Now each scene can have different things on it. So when we go over to the right, they're called overlays. Think of overlays as your cameras, anything that's in there. So here, this little window here, are my overlays. So when I click on me here, we can see that we have this overlay is on because it's white. The other ones are all grayed out. And we have my iPad mini pencil. And that's it. Those are the two that are on that overlay. So if I go and draw something here, what do you think is going to happen when I turn this overlay off? It's going to disappear. Or what I'm able to do is I have pop-up characters and all that, which I'll use, the holiday seasons are coming. So we need to have a little elf here, right? This is a overlay. And up here, they will show on all the scenes. So it doesn't matter what scene I'm in. I can apply it to a specific scene, or I can apply it to all scenes. So I just go over here, and hopefully, nope, that must not be downloaded. How about hot air balloons? Let's turn that one on. not doing it. Anyway, because I don't have it set up, or is it going? I have it in over. Okay, so anyway, basically what you'd see is hot air balloons, so I can add all these different animations just by clicking on it. I can even go as far as adding, some of you have seen when I go and say, let's take a look at the Apple event. Instead of looking at a screen, I can add an overlay here that is a web view. So then it just shows a website. I can show a movie in here. Let's say I wanted to show a movie. I can add an overlay, so they have all these different types of overlays. I can show a countdown, there's cameras, I can add text, all that kind of stuff. And I can just go and click on them to show them, or what I can do is hook them up to my Stream Deck, and when I tap on a button, whatever overlay will show at that time. So each scene can have multiple overlays, as I showed you in that little diagram there. Now, when we're looking at a camera, so right here we're looking at me. If we go over to this window here, these are all my camera inputs. So right now I'm looking at my iPad mini. So what I'm able to do is make this iPad mini green screen. I can zoom it out. I can change the colors, all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't want to do that with that iPad mini. But if I go over to my tiny camera here, what I'm able to do is zoom in. You can kind of see it there in the one window. I'm able to zoom in and out. I can go and change the temperature. I can go and mirror it. So we have all different, so depending on what camera you have selected here, you're going to be able to make different changes to it with that. And down here, we have different sound effects. So, you could say, hey, Dan, great job. And I could go, yay! I don't know if you heard that or not, but a little applause to hear that. Yep. Or glockenspiel, anything like that. So we can add sound effects in there. And then here are my sound levels. So I need to make sure that my sound levels are okay. And then when somebody speaks from Zoom, I can make sure that my sound levels are okay. So some people, they can speak a little louder and all that. I can only do this for blanket Zoom, but I can't do it for individual people. Basically it, not here in the sound effects ward. Yeah, I don't really play with them too much. I need to, it should work, but sometimes it doesn't. And then you're going to see I have comments here. It doesn't work with Zoom comments, although they are coming out with it. Ecamm is coming out with an update that works with Zoom comments. But if people were to comment, if they were on YouTube and someone commented, what I'd be able to do is highlight that comment. Somebody could say, hey, Dan, how do you do this? And I could hit a button, and you're going to see in the lower thirds, hey, Dan, how do you do this? And everybody will see that. And eventually I'll be able to do that with Zoom as well. So it also, I'm not going to get into this, but you can also do interviews. So someone else could join and we could be side by side, that kind of thing. So pretty neat little software. And then of course we have all of my different cameras here. So that is basically how Ecamm kind of works. Any questions? Kind of rolled through that, but I figured I had to. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my train of thought. I see. Let's see here. Let me go to the comments. I'm just going to get out a live view here. Hopefully, yep. And then we're going to go to comments. And as you can probably guess, all this is just a screen share of the comment window from Zoom. So now what I'm able to do is just kind of go through here. And I do a test to make sure that everything's all working right. So now what I'm able to do is go, all right, let's go through these questions here. George, the hub. The hubs are, I don't know the brand. I don't know what the brand is. I'll get back to you on that. But the Thunderbolt hubs, I have a 2-port and a 4-port, and basically I need to do that because of all the setup takes up a lot of bandwidth. I'll get you on that. Yes, USB-C cables. That is a big problem. USB-C cables are not built the same. And some of them are cheap, and you need them. You don't need to have anything fancy with some of them. But other ones, you need to have Thunderbolt 4, or they have to carry high bandwidth for video. And that is probably, I love everything going to USB-C. My biggest problem with it is they are not easily identifiable, and I think that is a major problem. If I go with you're not going to be able to see it, but the camera you're looking at all this, it's right up, right there. That camera that you're looking at there needs to have a very high-powered or very expensive USB-C cable. It does not work with all cables. And you may have noticed it when you charge this guy. The reason why this guy is not hooked up, and this is a nice camera. The reason why it's not hooked up, I don't have enough Thunderbolt ports. I need to get a new computer. I'm at the end of where I can go with Thunderbolt ports. As far as I could spend $800, but if I'm going to spend $800, I'm going to get a Mac Studio, which has more Thunderbolt ports. But this also needs USB-C, but it needs a very high power, high quality. I don't know what you would want to call it. Not saying quality isn't a good word because they all don't do the same, and they're designed that way. So it's not like a poor quality one won't do it. So yeah, I have to be very careful with cables. And when you want to charge a camera, I am a camera nut, as some of you know. Some of these USB-C cables won't charge a camera. They're good for video, but they're not good for power cables. So I've been putting black tape around some of them so I know which ones do which. I got this nice cable here, and then there's black tape on it. So not easily identifiable. Ward, sometimes when your video is full screen, your audio and video is a bit out of sync. And yeah, that could be. It used to be a lot worse. And that's a thing with Zoom. Everybody else is fine, and even with my videos, I shouldn't say that. Every once in a while, I will have to go into one of my videos and detach the audio and just kind of shift it a little bit because it looks like I'm speaking in a foreign language because my lip sync is off. So there is something there, Warden. I'm not really sure what it is. I need to figure it out. But every once in a while, I have that, even so it's not Zoom. Okay, so Tony, how do I show my watch? I did not include that, but basically with my watch, what I do is I share my phone. So when we go over to, I'll share my watch here. We're going to see if this works on the fly. So my watch is actually hooked up to my personal phone. So it's not hooked up to this phone. If I wake this phone up, should go there. Anyway, it's not hooked up to that phone there. So what I need to do is use my personal phone because that's where my watch is hooked up to. So what I do is I connect it up, and when I do that, guess what it becomes? A camera. And you're going to see if I go over to my live studio, you can see that, yeah. Right down here, click to start. That's my iPhone. There it is. So I'm going to click to start. And now you're going to see my iPhone here shortly, or do I have to wake it up? There's my iPhone. And, of course, I have a scene for it. So when I go over to my scene, there's my iPhone. Okay, well, that's cool, but that's not my Apple Watch. How do I show my Apple Watch? Well, what I do on this guy is I triple click on it. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to see it hopefully on my screen there shortly. It says connecting. And then I just created an overlay that has my Apple Watch there. It's not showing my Apple Watch. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. There it is.
And can I ask, are you using the mirroring feature to go from your watch to the iPhone?
That is just an accessibility option that they added last year, and you can actually just go and share that. I'm not sure why it's not showing on the
doing
phone.
that, but it times out after 5 or 6 minutes.
Yes, it does. I have to keep tapping the screen. It does time
Okay.
out. Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
reported it. They were supposed to be fixing it, but this is a year later and it's still not fixed.
I might do. Are you using iOS 17?
Yes.
Okay. I've seemed to have pretty good luck with iOS 17. It's not timing out as fast, but yes, that is an issue. All right, Ward's not hearing any sound effects. Let's turn my live demo off. Go back over there. So, if I go and play a sound effect here. Yay, or no one heard that?
No.
Ah, all right. So I don't have sound effects. I don't know. Anyway, I don't use them anyway, but basically the way that it's supposed to work is right down here are my sound effects. I probably don't have my sound input set right, and it's just not going in there. So let's take a look at my loop deck. Ward might like this. It's not. I don't have it real complicated, but here's where I can go and say I want my audio from Zoom to not include my microphone, so it's only recording you guys, and then it goes into this channel here, and then my audio from Ecamm is my microphone, and then that goes into there, and then I can go and do what I wanted to do. When I'm listening to my music when I'm just working around here, here's another thing that I have set. Final Cut Pro, the Finder. I want all my Mac sounds to go to I have a display, a 27-inch Thunderbolt display, oldie but a goodie. So all the sounds go into there. But when I'm listening to music, I have Sonos speakers here. I want my music to go to my Sonos speakers. So you're going to see somewhere in here, right here, music goes over my external headphone jack, which is plugged into my Sonos. So when I play music from my Sonos or from the music app, it goes into Sonos. Pretty much everything else goes over to my Mac. So I can actually split, even though it's the same even though it's the same computer, depending on what software is playing it, and that's how I can reroute that audio in there. So, all right, let's see what we have here. Live View Ecamm, I already did that one. So, disappear for me. There we go. All right, let's take a look at Final Cut Pro. So I have these videos, and when I'm just going to show you on my MacBook Air because it's just easier. You can see, oops, you're still in live demo mode. There we are. So you're looking at my MacBook Air here. And when I go, so basically Final Cut Pro, like I said, Ecamm, what it does is it creates two different files. So here they are, the two different files. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to real down and dirty here, create a new project. And we'll call this a test project. And there it is. Now what I could do is I could just take my two videos in there and record them in there. But the problem is this one is just me. The whole thing is just me. Where's all my other stuff? Well, that one is from Ecamm. And this is what Ecamm does for me. Separates them out. So what I need to do, and now there's no longer me, and I want to kind of switch between that. So what's really cool about this is Final Cut Pro, I can say make this a multicam. So it's like I'm dealing with two different cameras, which I am. So I just say multicam clip. Sure. It synchronizes them based on the audio. And now I just drag this down here. And both of those clips are in there. But if you look, they're not doing any. I mean, it's still all me. But let me turn the volume down here. When I go over here to View, Angles, I can see both angles here, which means, wrong one. I don't want to see giant me there. I can go over here and be like, so we'll just go through the beginning here. This is what I am watching. This is what the final output is. Here are my two cameras. And all I have to do is just click on what I want to show. So when I go through here, it's about 30 seconds. It's my intro. So I'm just talking about, we're going to talk about this, that, and the other. How we can clear Safari's, blah, blah, blah.
In Safari on the iPad. This can come in handy if you're having a problem with, on the iPad, what you can do is you can clear it for the last day, you can clear it for
Yeah, we don't want to hear that. And
hello everyone.
anyway, so let's say this is the end of my introduction. And now what I want to do is I want to go over to my Mac. All I have to do is just say click on that and it shows my Mac. So basically I'm just sitting here watching myself and I'd be like, you know what, this is a good spot where I can show me. And then, okay, we're back to my Mac here.
Hello everyone. And this
And then I can just, so basically that's how I can choose which camera I want to use on the fly. And then once I do that, I have it all set. I'll add a few transitions and things like that. I go here and I export it out as a file, single file, and this is my finished file with everything in there. So Final Cut Pro helps me out with that. Now that I have that finished file, I go over to that app that I have, Ecamm, and I do have a small video here, so we're just going to take this small video here. And you're going to see it's doing its work. This won't take that long. This is a smaller video, so now what it's going to do is it's going to transcribe that video for me, although this is a MacBook Air, so it might take a little bit. It's just using AI to do that. And then what I'm able to do is export that out as a SRT, and I can upload that to Vimeo, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And I can also export it out as a text file, which means I can feed it into Claude, OpenAI, ChatGPT, that kind of thing. So that is, basically how I do that. What's my next thing here? Editing in Final Cut Pro. And transcripts with Ecamm. So you can see the transcripts are coming through here. And I can edit this once I get it done as well. But I think it does a pretty good job. And, we all know transcripts aren't perfect. So, all right. So I have all of this information in there. Now what do I do? The next thing that I will do, I'll just hide this, is I will go into my Notion database. Put that. And with Notion, what I can do is go in here and keep track of what videos I have, so we can see here. Oops, I'm logged into the wrong one. I don't want to be in that one. That's an NMUG. So let's cancel, and we will go in Notion. I also use it to help me keep track of stuff on Notion, or on with NMUG. So we'll go to Notion here. Log in. And we are going to use Google. This won't take long. I didn't think it would take long. Next. All right, try it again. No, yeah. And fingerprint. And next. All right, it's not allowing me to do it. But basically with Notion, what I'm able to do, let me do this. I'm going to switch accounts here on this Mac. I do have my my regular account on here as well, so then I can take this to my couch and do what I need to do if I don't want to sit in my office. So you'll see her shortly. So I'll make sure I don't have anything that's exposed when I log in here. That one, no. And I'll go to Notion here. Come on. There we go. All right, we're back in business. So here's my lesson organizer. These are what I have recorded here, getting to know the Apple Watch. I'm editing that one right now. But these are what I have recorded. These are ready to record, so I can kind of keep an idea of what I'm doing, that kind of thing. But where this really comes into play is when, let's go to the app. Things are opening up. All right, let's go to the app privacy report. So what I can do here is I can put my YouTube, my Vimeo, I can keep track of what I'm doing in here. But this is where it really gets cool. I like the style of David Pogue, a little bit loose, kind of thing. So I will say, I'll have the chapters in here. Let's go to one that I did. Did I do this one yet? Okay. So let's. So here are my chapters, which I will add in something. So what I can do. Let's just go over here. We're just going to pretend that these are the chapters for this. So what I'll do is I'll create the chapters. I do that in Final Cut Pro, as I build it. And then all I have to do is just say, write a description in first person in the style. So I'll just copy this, cut it, and then I ask AI to write it. And then there's my description. Of course, I'll have to make a few changes to it, but I could also make it longer. Yeah, that looks good. You know what? I need to have an excerpt. Cut, paste. Done. You know what? We need to have 10 exciting titles for YouTube. And then I'll feed these into another AI that will determine which one is going to have the highest click-through rate. So, but that's basically how I use Notion, and it keeps track of all this and get it all done. So, what else? What's next? It might be... Oh, then I'll just pop it into WordPress, for my site. My site is just WordPress, so what I can do is just here's the code that I need. So I need to have specific code in here, and Mike, this is how it works with NMUG as well. I need to have specific code in here that will hide stuff based on if they're a member or not. So I'll upload it to YouTube with the ads. If you're not a member, this is the one that you get. If you are a member, you get the Vimeo version, which doesn't have any ads. So what I have to do is I have to copy this code and I paste it into WordPress, and it's good to go. So it's basically 2 copies. I take this, copy it, and then I take that code, copy it, and then the third thing is I just put my YouTube URLs and Vimeo URLs in there. And then that's pretty much it on the site. I mean, obviously there's a few other things that I have to do, but that's pretty much it on the site. WordPress first. Let's see here. I think I did roll through that pretty good. Yeah. So it is now questions. Any questions on that? Actually, let me look over here. We'll go to the comments first. And yeah, George, it took me a while to get this all squared away. So thanks for the wow. All right. Peter, yeah, thanks how much you put into these productions. And, the whole thing is what the reason why I did this, some of you have heard I like to automate. And even though it looks like I'm doing a lot, now that I have it set up, it is super simple. In the past, what I used to do is I used to use ScreenFlow, and I'd have to record myself, and then I'd have to go and do the editing, then I'd have to go and add the zooms in and zooms out, and I'd have to listen to myself 4 or 5 times. Well, I mean, it's thanks everybody for supporting me, but I can't listen to myself 4 or 5 times in a row. It just so This allows me to, in all honesty, I can just sit down at the computer, I turn on Ecamm, and I go like this, turn on the microphone. Oops, where is it? iPad went to sleep. I turn on Ecamm, I hit record, and now all I have to do is, like, in this video, we're going to take a look at this, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's go over to my iPad and see how we do this. And all I'm doing is just recording myself in real time. So it's almost like I'm editing on the fly, as opposed to doing a lot of the stuff post. So it really does make it a lot easier in the big scheme of things. Even though it looks like it's more complicated, it's actually pretty easy. Steve, yo.
Yeah, I was going to catch you at the very beginning before you started the show, which is an excellent look behind the scenes, by the way. This is really fascinating to see how you've got Command Central set up. But it all reminds me of this. If you'll trust me and allow me to share my screen for a few seconds.
Sure. I will stop
that
share.
cool?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I trust you. You've been around for a while. Do I have the permission? Do I have it set up to where you can?
Not yet.
Okay. Let me see where this share screen. And how about now?
Let me try now. There we go. There's one little button that I always forget to press when you're sharing audio. Uh-oh, what's this? Okay, let's see.
You're good.
Got the screen there? Okay.
Yep.
So this is what it really looks like, everybody. Let's see. It's funny is when Zoom is on. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second, real quick. What I hate is when Zoom covers up the controls of the other.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Safari. So in this case, I got Safari.
While you're doing that, Ward, you said my microphone appears to have two levels. I need to position it better because I'm starting to move around a little bit more as I do this, and it's highly sensitive to me turning like that. I think that's what's going on. I've noticed that with when I'm in Final Cut Pro too. So I either need to sit still or I need to figure out the positioning of the microphone so it doesn't do that. I mean, it does have levels, it has a dial on it, but it's not.
Dan, that wasn't what I was referring to.
Oh, okay. All right.
We can come back to me.
Okay.
You've had plenty of time already. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I said,
Looks like my cat.
If you are really great and powerful, you keep your promises.
do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You are great.
There it is.
Think yourself lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the
So I need to have a green curtain there then, huh?
That's right.
All right, I'll start
That's
sharing
right.
again. Well, funny you say that. So Ward, we'll get to you as soon as I just do this so you can see. Yeah. So this is all live, and I actually booted up that Mac right there, this one, earlier today. That actually boots up. But I don't have a green curtain, but I do have a green screen, so I could do that. All right, Ward, go ahead.
Visually, I can see a microphone and then something between you and the microphone that looks like an iPhone.
No, that is windscreen or so the spit that kind of thing. Doesn't hit the microphone, and you don't. It's a pop filter, I think.
Okay.
So that's all that is. Just a screen. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. Steve again. Yes.
Oh no, I just forgot to lower my hand.
Okay. Any other questions on it? Did I explain it all right? Did I confuse everybody? I mean, it's kind of fun for me.
Great presentation.
Thanks.
Really, really impressed.
It
I
took.
agree.
Terrifying, but great.
Yeah, it's just like I say, super fun for me to figure all this out. As some of you know, I'm a cinematography fan, and this kind of gets my feet wet into that world, in my own little world, I guess you could say. So, yeah, it's neat and it's fun, and
Well,
very,
the question
very cool.
is, where do you go from here?
I don't know. I'm not doing any presentations at NMUG anymore. I offered, but that wasn't nothing took on that. But I'm busy enough with the website anyway. But yeah, I don't. I'm trying to. In all honesty, I'll say I'm trying to crack that YouTube nut. So when I developed apps years ago. Some of you may have heard this story. We were at Disney with my family, and I put my first app in there or something like that, and I made 50 cents a day. And then the next day it was $1. And I'm just like, yes, I see where this is going to go. And my family's like, what are you talking about? You're making $1. And I'm like, no, if I can replicate this is just one app. So if I can get a bunch of apps out there, and lo and behold, I did. I mean, I was doing really, really well in the App Store. I actually had a booth at Macworld Expo in San Francisco. It really was fun, and I had to quit Apple due to that because otherwise all the apps were theirs. But then Apple, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they didn't want to have any tutorials or anything like that in the App Store. So they're very, very protective, and you just pull your hair out dealing with their App Store. That's a whole nother animal, their App Store. Not a fan of it. Anyway. I won't get on that soapbox. So that's when I came out with the website kind of thing, and that's been going well and all that. But it's just not. I'm not a marketing person. This kind of stuff intrigues me, and it just it was not the membership site is going well, but all of a sudden YouTube about a year and a half ago said, you know what, we're going to start paying you. I've hit enough. I'm like, oh, okay. I have to get so many views to make money off of that. I'm not going to do that. And people have been telling me for years, you need to get on YouTube. I'm not going to. I should have listened. They pay you. And it doesn't take, I'm not going to say it doesn't take much, but, I never thought I would get 2 million views. I'm at 2 million views. I mean, that's nothing compared to some of these other people, but really, I'm getting 11,000 views every other day. They go by 48 hours. So let's just say I'm getting 5,000 views a day. I am not getting that in a month on my site. No offense against you guys, but it's just like you have to have a large audience. Well, YouTube has a large audience, so basically, I've been focusing more on that, and I try to crack that nut to where it's that evergreen content like what we had with the App Store. We're like, oh, I'm making $100. Well, I don't see any reason why I can't do $200, and then all of a sudden there it was. Oh, okay. I don't see any reason why I can't do this, and there it was. Kind of thing, and it's really fun for me to see what I can do with that. So my goal is, and like I say, I'll be completely honest with you. My goal here is this site will be more of a hobby for me, where I can be more of a hands-on and just kind of have fun. And I mean, I'm getting to know everybody here, and that kind of thing. And I want YouTube to be the bread and butter. That's my ultimate goal, which is going to take a few years, but it's going to happen. I'm confident in that. But it's crazy. So I have to crack that nut on getting the right video, the right special. Steve has seen me play around. I've sent him thumbnails, and you may have seen it on my site. I don't have those goofy thumbnails, but if you go to YouTube, here I am, kind of thing. But it works. People click on them. I wish they didn't, so I wouldn't have to do that. But but I'm going to be playing around with a few other ideas with that too. So.
Just stay away from all capitals.
I've been doing that because it's
I
working.
know. I'm gonna smack your knuckles with a ruler.
That's another thing Steve has advised me on. Don't. I know. But when I send him through a blind taste test, guess which ones get clicked on? All capitals.
That shows you that so many people have poor taste.
Right. So, yeah, but that essentially, like I say, that's my end goal is to kind of do that. And like I say, I'm just trying to crack that nut to figure out the right formula. I'm not trying to go to their algorithm, Google's algorithm. What I basically, and Google says is create stuff that people want, and then if you do that, they will like it, and they will do this, and they will do that. So I'm getting there. I'm getting a lot of likes, and people on YouTube are just paying me $5. This saved me blah blah blah. Here's $5. I never thought that. I'm never going to pay somebody on YouTube $5, but lo and behold, so I know I'm getting there. It's just a matter, and I think the content will stay the same for the most part. It's more or less getting with this video production kind of thing, I can do a little bit more professional look to it, kind of thing. We'll see. Anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. So, Any other? Ed.
Dan, on Ecamm, how long did it take you to set up all those scenes? That really looks very complicated. You have to keep deciding what you want in each scene.
It starts out small, so you're going to see here. You can see it here. I don't know if I still have them or not, because I was using this for NMUG, and now Mike does that kind of thing. Let's see if I still have them.
Except he's rubbish.
Yeah. You probably can't read it, but under this menu, you're going to see that there's an NMUG profile. So NMUG has maybe 5 scenes in here. It doesn't have all of these. I can't switch because I'm live right now, but it doesn't have near as many scenes. But a lot of these I experiment with. I'm not the best organizer. I'm sure people would say you need to clean that up. But for the most part, so this is one that I was playing with. And if you look at, let's see here. I have the orange border. I was playing around with that. We'll just go through a couple of these. This is a copy of me, so apparently I was experimenting with that one. This is a whiteboard, so what I'm able to do with this one is, where's my pen? Now that I got this video pencil, I could be like, well, so the thing works like this, or, it just gives me a little bit of a drawing pad, kind of thing. I'm going to Disney in December, so I can, get better on my Mickey Mouse drawing kind of thing. But it kind of gives me that. So I've slowly added these. Here's a web overlay. This one is left over. You can see it's pulling up a website. So this is when I was talking about the iPhone 15. So it just pulls up a website, comments. So, it just took me, slowly added these, like, what, I want to have this. I need to have this. I need to have this. So, and you slowly, now some of these, here's an Apple Watch with an iPhone 12. Oh, that's where I can show them side by side. So I can show my watch and my phone at the same time. Although it's kind of not really it, because I have to mirror the screen. So when you're actually looking at this, you'll be looking at an iPhone that is not actually the mirrored phone. But for my video, it doesn't really matter. People don't need to know that. All they need to know is what I'm trying to teach them. So, but yeah, that's any words of wisdom for Stream Deck pros and cons? Okay, so what I use is Stream Deck, and we'll go back over to the live thing here. So, well, here, let me do this first. As I showed you earlier, the Stream Deck is these little guys that allow me to switch, and then I have a foot pedal. Basically, with the Stream Deck, and somebody has you can download Stream Deck on your phone. I have the physical buttons because it's easier. I don't have to actually, I don't have to tap on the wrong button, although I do sometimes. With the phone, so basically let me go this way. With Stream Deck, I'm just going to open it up. It's located in your menu bar here, and I'm going to configure it so everybody can see that. This is my Stream Deck. So I have a Stream Deck Plus, which has dials on it. So with these, I configured these dials to adjust my lighting, so I can turn the lights down and up and that kind of thing. Let's see if this one, you can see it's getting darker in my office. I can change the color of it depending on, I like to have, really what I should have is a studio where no windows, because then you can control the lighting. Again, something that Mike is probably familiar with. When you can control the lighting on a stage, because that's what I'm on, it's very easy. I love windows. So I get messed up all the time when, especially in Michigan here, with that and that, so what I can do is I can change the, it's worth it to me. What I can do is I can change the temperature of these lights. So then I don't look jaundiced or whatever, depending on what it's looking like outside. Also, the light above me, I can change the temperature of that as well. So I can control the light to give me the flexibility of having those windows, because I love windows. And I'm not willing to give those up. We call it the Beth Cave downstairs. It's Beth's little spot, and I could make a studio in there, but I don't want to, I like windows. So anyway, back to Stream Deck. So here's my pedal. So what this does is this advances the next slide on my keynote. So Mike, when I was doing that, all I would do is just hit this little thing with my foot, and it would automatically advance to the next slide. That's how that worked. And you could do this with the Stream Deck on the phone. So basically what you'll do is go in there and, let's see here if I can, there's going to be Keynote in here. That's easier if I just search. And from here I can say, you know what, I want to play stop. So I just drag that on there, and now when I hit that button, it'll play stop, that kind of thing. So that's all you have to do is just drag and drop. And you can create all kinds of different things with this. It uses keyboard shortcuts, all that good stuff. I don't use this to its full, I use it for scenes. What a lot of people, anyway. I use this primarily for just switching scenes. Pretty simple thing to do. On it with Ecamm. So here's Ecamm, and I just drag a button over there. Here, let's go to my other one. Here's my main Stream Deck, and I'll go to the second one. So let's say on this button here, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to run a scene. All right, well, which scene do you want to run? And I just go and, okay, let's go with the web overlay. And that's all there is to it. Next time I hit that button, what it's going to do is go to Ecamm and run that scene. It's like switching the cameras. Okay, we're on this stage over here. Exit stage left. That's all it's doing. So I just drag and drop and put those out there. It took me a while to get to narrow this down. I should have a bigger Stream Deck, but and they do have larger ones because I have to go to 2 pages here because of all my scenes. But I'm not willing to go with the money yet on that. You know, I'll make this thing work for now, but I really should have a larger Stream Deck because the other one, Stream Deck Plus, I use for dials, and when I'm done recording, I hit finish. When I am screen sharing, all I have to do is just hit this button here. I don't have to look for it in Zoom or anything like that. So there's another thing that you can do is you can set Stream Deck to stop sharing. Mute everyone. All I have to do is hit this button and it'll mute everyone. Again, I don't have to look for those controls. And when you're a one-man, show, I don't have a producer behind me, so when you're a one-man show, you gotta make these buttons accessible, because otherwise you're doing, well, like, I'm gonna pick on you, Steve. You're hunting for, where did that button go? And Zoom hides those buttons, So I don't have to do that. I can just click a button here and it basically does what I need to do, and I don't have to worry about what Zoom is doing and all that kind of stuff. There are all kinds of plugins for Stream Deck. If you go over here to the store, did I hit the wrong one? This plus right down here. And I don't know how it works on the iPhone, but if you go to this plus here, there's all kinds of different things that you can.
And they're all free.
Yeah, and they're all free. And you can make them multi-action and all that kind of stuff. So, in the live demo, and we're back. Any other questions? All right. Well, let's call that a wrap.
Make sure you run out of Halloween candy on Monday at 8 p.m. exactly.
Oh, do you have a thing coming up? Well, here, I'll stop recording here so they can stop it for YouTube. Oh, okay.
Apple is.
Oh, right. Apple's having an event. That's right. And I am going to have an AMA next week. So for everybody that, I forgot to mention that. So next week is going to be one of my AMAs. And, register, submit your questions, and I'll be able to hopefully answer them, or at least get you in the right direction, my goal. So, but yes, Apple's having an event next week, probably new Macs, right? Sounds like, especially with the icon that they're using or the image that they're using. And
there's going to be a couple that are going to have M3 chips, most likely. Yep.
Maybe they'll lower the price of the studio, and then I can get me a studio.
Well, maybe they'll do that since they just jacked up their prices on most of their services.
Right. They did raise the price.
They don't mention that. You got to leave it to other people to find that out.
Right.
Yep. So is the purpose of the studio, the Mac Studio, is that for doing things like this, what you're doing right now?
Yeah, it is not. I would not recommend the studio for generally anybody. I mean, I'm able to run this with a MacBook Pro 2020. It's an M1, and it runs fine. Right now, my my CPU is running at 79%. So another thing on Stream Deck, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it.
But what it does, the Mac Studio would make this much easier for you then.
Yes, because I wouldn't have to have these hubs. I could actually hook up this guy, because I want to have another camera. And this is a better camera than what I have up top here. So I would like to have, I hate to say it, I want to have more cameras, because then I can feed all that in there. And if you watch, like I said, what's my original goal is I want to get better at YouTube. I could have different angles, It just makes things instead of just watching, okay, now we're going to do this, I could make it just a little bit more exciting. I mean, as much as I can. So, right. So they are using, and get back to me on this, Chris, because I'm going to tell you, yeah, is it? Ask them and let me know. My guess is they're using OBS Studio, and Ecamm is, written for the Mac and paid and much better. But I mean, I know churches, you know, it's not like they have the money but right. So they wouldn't be able to use that anyway. But my guess is they're using OBS Studio. That's exactly what it's for. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. That's my guess. That's what they're doing. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. So this little guy here that I just circled tells me, and that's on the Stream Deck, it has a CPU monitor, and I'm running at 84%. So back on, do I need do we need a studio? No, but for me, because I have so much stuff plugged in there, I would like to have one. You know, so then I'm at the limit of what I can do with the cameras, I think, with this. So I only have three Thunderbolt ports on the MacBook Pro, and I have 3 Thunderbolt hubs plugged into them, so I can't do anything more. Yeah. Unless I get like I said earlier, I'd have to get a more expensive Thunderbolt hub. Well, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to get a computer, you know, kind of thing. So, but yeah. So that is basically my setup. I'm going to finish this recording here so I can stop it on YouTube, and then nothing else will be recorded. So thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions, just email me, check out my site. And if you like what you see, become a member of my site. You won't see any ads, and you're helping support you know, me kind of doing this. Hopefully I'm helping you. And if I'm helping you, it'd be great just a little bit of help to help me out and keep this going. So thanks.
This was excellent.